And one of the things that I think Tag could do, because they got the technology or they got the information, is make your slabs serialize. Welcome back and welcome back. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. PSA bought Beckett. And if you guys are hearing it from me first, then obviously something's wrong with your guys' algorithm, because there's no reason why I should be one of your guys' top, I guess, news updates kind of guy, because it's not even what I do. But the only reason why I want to talk about it is because what does this mean for Tag? If you guys are like me and you guys are huge Tag graders, is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? So we're just gonna go ahead and talk it up, chop it up a little bit, and these are gonna be my opinions, maybe a little bit of my predictions. But if you guys have any of your guys' suggestions, just go ahead and drop it in the comment. So yeah, PSA bought Beckett. What does that mean? Well, just like before, PSA has bought another competitor, and now they own a little bit bigger of the market share. Is this a good move for PSA? Well, honestly, outside from the blunders, let's talk about PSA as a company. PSA has been very innovative and kind of like pushing the trading card market out there, especially when it comes to like graded cards. And I think this is absolutely a fantastic move by them in a business perspective. Because if we're talking about PSA's biggest competition, it's not Tag. It's not Tag at the moment. Some people would say it's CGC, but when it comes to dollars by dollars and value of their product, it's going to be Beckett, and for one simple reason: the black labels. PSA has been heavily criticized this for a long time, that the highest grade that you can get through PSA is just going to be a PSA 10. Meaning, if a card grades above a 9.5, it's going to get graded as a 10. And if it's a 10, it's going to get graded as a 10. And if it's anything higher than that, if it's like a PSA pristine, right? It doesn't matter. It's a 10. However, Beckett has always had the black label. That doesn't even matter what kind of card it is. If you get a black label on a card, it's a huge multiplier whenever we're talking about resale value, right? So them buying that could raise some concerns. For me, as a consumer, every single time that I see a big company buying out smaller portions, smaller companies, part of their competition, it's never a good result for us. I mean, we are talking about seeing situations like this, like with Stellantis in the automotive industry. Now, Jeep, Chrysler, and Dodge are some of the worst cars when we're talking about reliability. Why do I bring it up? Well, I mean, if you guys, my algorithm is a bunch of like millennials. Automotive reliability is kind of like a big thing, especially whenever we're talking about like outside expenditures, like expenses. So that's kind of like how I see it too. However, it's going to be good for the people who have a lot of money already in PSA. But the biggest thing that would concern me is that PSA is trying to do everything they can to control this market, the trade carding market, because it's not regulated by anyone. That now they're trying to become the ones who regulate it. So having Beckett as part of their parent company, co-company, now what's going to stop them from getting some of their PSA 10s, getting them graded through Beckett and having the black labels? Now they have control of that. I mean, they've been making huge acquisitions from buying other PSA 10 cards, buying them back from other people to try to control the market. So to me, that's a big red flag. So what does this mean for Tag or CGC? Well, CGC is still doing fairly well. They've been grading a lot more, and I feel because CGC has done fantastic with the cheap prices, becoming like the bulk or the cheap grading option. And there's nothing wrong with it. I do have some CGC slabs with them that I like, and personally for that price I would rather buy them through CGC, hold them later, and then probably crack and regrade through Tag when the time is right. But for Tag, so what can they do to stand out? What can they do to stand out and compete against PSA when it comes to stuff like this? I think as I'm not trying to say like this is an overreaction, but I do think that Tag has to do a couple things to kind of like stand out even more, especially for the side of collectors. because PSA is not really for collectors anymore. I do believe that PSA is more for people who are trying to invest and make money. I mean, you guys can disagree with me, but there's a big reason why people grade through PSA. It's because it makes cards more liquid. Collectors don't care if their cards are liquid. Collectors care if their card looks fantastic in a slab that they can be happy with. Value is a second option. It's they're collecting what they want to collect. While PSA, you can argue whatever you want. You're going through PSA for the most part because it is a very liquid company. And even if you guys got into the hobby like a year ago, you guys have been taught, I'm not going to say brainwashed, but the general consensus has always been that PSA is king. So Tag has already increased their prices from $15 to $20 to maybe cover a little bit of the overhead or to not be considered the cheapest option out there, which I agree. You don't want your product to be known as the cheapest product. Well, so what can they do? Well, I think they should take a move from PSA's playbook. PSA really blew up the last year by making grading so accessible to the general public by having places like GameStop where people can go submit their cards and get it graded through PSA, making it super easy. Tag can do the same thing, and since it's AI, Tag could have remote locations where whatever machines they use, whatever grading kiosks they use, they can put it to mom and pop stores, charge a price or whatever, or buy it. But they could make it a lot more accessible by having kiosks where you can go and grade yourself. Honestly, if the opportunity ever arose, I would love to own one of those machines just so I can make it more accessible to my friends, family, or just like the general product people, because I do believe in the product. I love the product. That's always going to be my stance. I love Tag slabs. So yeah, making them more accessible. And one of the things that I think Tag could do, because they got the technology or they got the information, is make your slabs serialize. And this is what I mean. Some of my favorite slabs that I got from Tag is because I know those are the first those are the first Tag 10 cards graded out there in the world. That is a huge flex. Huge flex, right? You can scan the QR code and it will tell you chronologically ordered and then first in grade, second in grade, right? I got the first. That's huge. So do that on collectors. Whether if you want to do for like Tag 10 slabs, you know, serialize your slabs. It's only going to be like 10 different plastic cases for those 10 slabs. And even if you put somewhere like this is number one, this is number two, this is number three for that Pokemon card, that will make it a huge reselling market for Tag slabs. Honestly, imagine that. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, it's a Tag slab, but yeah, this number one, meaning this is a first Tag 10 slab they got graded. That's a huge flex. You got your pristines. Do something crazy with that. Maybe even do five. Put a limit on it. But like 5 slabs, you can make it like a diamond background, whatever you want. Make it pristine. But give us a reason why. Like if you get the first pristine 10, showcase it on the slab. That's something that we haven't seen before. Pokemon cards are not going to get serialized, and I hope they never do. But just imagine all the other companies who serialize cards, and all of a sudden you're serializing your highest graded slabs, the first come, first serve. That will increase how many people are going to be grading through Tag. Maybe some people were like, yeah, PSA is going to have a higher resale value. But all of a sudden, you got the number one pristine 10 Tag slab with a different color slab out there. I can promise you people will pay buku monies from that. So stop being stupid about it. Like, just do something different, something that benefits more collectors who are really into that. So I mean, that's my suggestion. Different, like serialize your first 10 cards, and after that, standard slam Same thing for your pristine 10s. Maybe do 5, do 10. I don't know. Change the numbers, play around with it. But there's so much room for growth for tag. They just got to be innovative in the product they sell. Because you guys are already just selling us AI grading. There's other companies who are selling you AI grading, right? But maybe sell us AI grading. Fantastic. But with a chase, the number one, the number two, the 1 through 10, that would make things way harder for collectors or even scalpers or anyone who is in the market for this money, right? So that would be my suggestion. Serialize your guys' slabs. So do I personally think that this is the end for like tag or CGC? I don't think so. I hope that what it does is, since it kind of narrows down the competition just for the North American market, because you guys got to realize there is way more different grading companies overseas, underneath the borders. It doesn't matter. It's not just PSA, CGC, Beckett. Every other country has different grading companies that they believe in. I know the Latin American countries are down there. They have a different one. But right now, whenever you look at any YouTuber that is primarily from the Western United States market, they really do talk about just like PSA, Beckett, CGC. And one of the things that I always hear is they don't recognize tag as top of the big three, understandably so, but they always get an honorable mention. Now that you got Beckett and CG or SGC out of the picture, because they're basically under tag, under PSA. Now I do believe that the big three is going to be PSA. Regardless if it's Beckett or not, people are going to know that Beckett is PSA. So it's going to be PSA, it's going to CGC, and now tag is going to move on to option number 3. And the numbers reflect this. There's more people grading with tag, and I think it's a fantastic opportunity to jump in early. So if most of my collection was through PSA, what would I do? Well, honestly, I would just keep on looking at seeing what PSA is doing, if they're whether like, I guess, damaging their credibility or kind of like going into more scandals, from buying back PSA 9s and regrading them as PSA 10s, without changing the cert number. Honestly, that's so freaking stupid. It's stuff like that that's going to start breaking the trust out of collectors, out of enthusiasts. So best case scenario is going to create some innovation within the big three. Worst case scenario, it's going to break the grading card market, because I personally feel like the TCGs are not going anywhere. It doesn't matter what's going to happen with PSA, with CGC, or tag. People are going to collect cards. They have been for over 50 years, and they're going to continue doing so, especially if it looks like a different form of investing their money, putting it in collectibles. The only thing that I'm afraid of is that a lot of people already see grading as a scam, because it's very subjective. Aside from tag, right? But even then, it's very subjective, and you're paying a higher premium because of it. That PSA will eventually maybe price itself out, or they're going to overflow the market with PSA slabs. There's always one thing that always kind of sticks out to me, is that have you guys ever seen the movie, is it like The Incredibles? Yeah, it's The Incredibles with Syndrome, when he's talking, giving out his monologue, is when everyone is special, no one is special. I feel like that's what's going to be. If we get flooded over with graded cards, they used to be special. They used to have a very niche market, and the riches are in the niches. But if it becomes like a standard everyday kind of thing, you see it everywhere. We saw it with Funko Pops, and now Funko Pops is going out of business. There's a good chance that slabs could go down the way. So does that mean you should stop grading your slabs through PSA, CGC, or tag? Absolutely not. I will have this argument with other people, and this is what I tell my co-workers and friends. If you really like the card, right, and you're in the same life stage that I am, mid-30s, growing out a family, it's okay if you get cards graded, not because of the value, but you want them in your collection just to protect the cardboard, because at the end of the day, it's just cardboard. So CGC will have a place if you have the mentality, because you're protecting it behind plastic at the cheapest price. tag will have its place because you're protecting it behind plastic, but now you have data behind it to show you why your card got that grade. PSA will do the same thing. You can grade a lot of bulk, but those chase cards, if they still have that upcharge, it's a huge disadvantage to them. As long as CGC or tag doesn't do an upcharge for their 10s, then I think that market is going to be fantastic. But those are going to be my opinions. So do I think this is the end for tag because of that? Absolutely not. I do think PSA is making fantastic, like really smart business moves, but it all kind of depends on them. If they're really trying to regulate the market, they can go ahead and break the market themselves and kind of maybe shoot themselves in the foot. Do I think CGC is probably going to fall or sell afterwards? No, CGC grades a lot of different things outside from TCG. We're talking about even stickers, we're talking about comic books, and while maybe the comic book market is not what it used to be, it's still a very niche market and they cater to them. They're the number one. As for tag, well, I mean, like I'm hoping tag becomes more collector focused on, not so much on the value itself, but on the product. I'm telling you, if they would serialize their cards, having them the first through 10, the first to 100, depending on how big they blow up, there can be a big market behind that. But those are my opinions. Aside from that, my advice would be keep collecting what you guys want to collect. If you guys want to grade and because you want to collect those cards, have them encased in plastic for later down the road, go with the cheapest price possible. At the end of the day, if you believe that card is going to go up in value, you don't have to have it in a PSA slab, in a CGC slab, in a tag slab. You can have it in whatever kind of slab you want, crack it later, and still have the tag, still have the cardboard card in mint condition. But it's just me. Outside from that, I'm not going to do a fancy outro. Oh, yeah. Finally, we crossed 100 subscribers. Finally. Thank you. Please, it doesn't cost you guys to like this video. It doesn't cost you a damn thing, and it will help me. And if by helping me, if you believe in tag, right, just like the video, have more people like it, subscribe, help me grow out this channel so we can continue more grading more cards through tag and putting them out there for other collectors to collect. Because there's a good chance if there's a card that you like, other people are going to like it and they're willing to buy it at a fairly moderate, like at a fairly price. So please like the video, subscribe if you like this kind of content or talking, or if you just like tag. That's what I'm going to be primarily grading on. And the winner of this Master Ball Electro that's only an 8.5 is going to be TV Com. You know, TV Com, if you see this video, please send me a message so I can go ahead and get this card shipped to you. Outside from that, please take it easy. Until next time, peace.